All right, everybody, welcome back to Stinker, Drinker, Thinker. And today we're going to talk about building a whiskey collection with only $100. If you're new here, we got a couple whiskey collectors here ourselves, and we spend more than $100 often. But on this podcast, we're three guys. We pour some pours, we make some cocktails, and we rank them in our own little special way, a little ranking system that's not number-based. It just tells you the goddamn honest truth, really. I'm your host, Anthony Longano. I'm joined by our in-house sommelier, Troy the Body Viglotti. Troy, say hello.
Greetings.
Earthlings. You know?
Greetings, Earthlings.
And then the alien over there with the beard. And today it is a teal.
I think teal's good.
Teal.
It's not teal.
Well, not quite teal. It's more like
matte teal.
Steel blue.
Matte teal. Speaking of Matt, Matt McKibble, everybody. Matt, say hello.
Hello.
Matt, congratulations. Matt can actually talk today. We were a little worried about that. Just had a cyst.
You and me both.
Just had a cyst removed from his testicle.
Not a testicle removed from my throat.
Yeah.
I mean, from my larynx. I mean, damn it.
Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, what we're gonna do? We a lot of times on here we don't necessarily talk about stuff that's. I mean, we have definitely talked about stuff that's right there, but we haven't necessarily talked about best value for your buck, so to speak. And all three of us, I think, get questions a lot of times from coworkers or friends or family. We're all known as kind of like the whiskey guys or the
for better or for worse.
Yeah, right. Or the cocktail guys, and it's just like I'll get messages or if I'm on vacation with family, it's like, hey. I had that Basil Hayden's last week. Like, what do you think about that? And it's like, well, if that's your price point, I'd probably fucking do this.
Has anyone called you doctor? Hey, doctor.
No, I haven't. Troy, has anyone called you a cocktail doctor yet?
Yes. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey,
Not a cocktail doctor, but just doctor.
Cock doctor?
Dr. Troy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Urologist?
Yes.
I had a problem.
Urologist Troy.
Euro Troy. But yeah, I was actually asked the other day saying like, hey, I'm setting up a tasting. I have some friends over, and I've got about $100. Like, what do I buy? Like, where should I start? What's a good way to kind of appease the masses? Something that's very approachable, but not super expensive. And I was like, well, it's been a while since I started building our collections. We should maybe kind of go back to where we came from and talk about it.
Yeah. So we're really going to focus on three types of whiskey. Honestly, it's arguable that we should have had Irish whiskey here, but we're going to do a bourbon, a Scotch, and a rye. And each of us are tasked with bringing, what we thought. And really, when we say under $100, for all three bottles, I think we came in right around 90.
Yeah,
90
combined.
bucks.
We essentially we had a shopping list of $100 combined, and we said, all right, what can we get?
Yeah.
So,
so we'll get in that in a second. I think Matt got the bourbon, Troy got the Scotch, and then I was in charge of the rye. But yeah, before we get into those, couple house cleaning tips. If you're stopping by here and you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. Give us a little thumbs up. We appreciate it. If you're listening along on any of your favorite podcast platforms, 5-star reviews are awesome. Please subscribe there. Share with your friends. If you ever are in that situation where someone's like, hey, I was thinking about buying this. What do you think? And I was like, well, I don't know. Why don't you see if they reviewed it on Stinker, Drinker, Thinker and share a link? That would be awesome. If you like whiskey, if you like free whiskey, and you like our podcast, we have these cute little mini bottles. This one's of a Willet 3-year family estate rye. And we have a lot of merch. If you place an order of $30 or more pre-shipping charge in our shop right now, we'll send you one of these, or actually we have...
Yeah, not exactly will it, but a bottle of it.
There's a chance you might get this. If you have any preferences, put it in your notes. But we got a bunch of these cute little 500 millimeter boys.
50 milliliter.
Yeah. We're sending you 500 milliliters of whiskey.
50 milliliters.
50. We got the Willet Pot Still, which is like the cutest little baby bottle ever. The 3-year rye. We got a couple different Balcones. We got the baby blue, the rye, and the single malt. We got a bunch of tealing stuff, Courage and Conviction, Clyde Mays. And on there's 3 different types of t-shirts, golf shirts, glassware,
Coasters.
Coasters. Well, the coaster's not for sale. We're throwing in the coasters. And then drawstring bags, which I got yelled at because they're not bags. They're drawstring backpacks. Yeah.
Even though they hold something? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they go on your back. So.
Oh, bag pack.
Yeah.
I think you mean bag pack.
Yeah, bag.
There you go.
Molly, sorry if you're listening. But yes, we got all that stuff on there. Really appreciate the support. So anyway,
Yeah.
I think that was all I had to talk to you.
That was a lot of stuff.
It was a lot of stuff. If you follow us on Instagram, we're always giving something away. So hop over there. Make sure you give us a follow. How was everybody's week? How are you healing up? You sound good.
I feel good. A little sore still.
Na, 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 na.
I feel good. Yeah, I feel great. Most 95%. That's what I've been saying recently. I'm at 95%.
So we're not going to hear any ridiculous cracker breaks tonight.
I'm about the same.
Hey, you almost nailed it.
I almost hit the right button.
We'll see. Stay tuned.
Okay. All right. Don't overexert
Got a couple
yourself.
jokes in the can.
Don't overexert
Better.
yourself.
Puns?
I still haven't.
Puns?
Perhaps puns, perhaps jokes. There could be both.
I want
You ready? Oh.
punnies.
I almost cut Troy.
Yeah.
This is a me and you question. You stay out of it.
Okay.
Okay.
Have they been getting worse since he's been planning them?
No, I mean they didn't exist really before, so we don't really have much to compare to before.
Okay. All right. That's
Yeah,
acceptable.
we'll give them a little bit. Of
I
slack.
got to try out things to know, to get it. And the contest is still on, by the way. I mentioned
That's
it
the
last
other
time.
thing I wanted to mention. Yes.
I mentioned it last time. I don't know if anyone's seen the post or anything, but yeah, if you write in with your favorite pun or joke, and it's good enough, I'll read it. And if it makes both of them laugh, maybe we'll send you something. Perhaps.
Let me clarify. If you have a joke or a pun, send it to contact@stinkerdrinkerthinker.com. Matt will, for a chance to read it on air. And if that makes me or Troy laugh,
Both
of us
make you
laugh.
both laugh.
both of us
Actually
laugh, Matt's going to send you whiskey of his collection
Oh, okay. That's what we're doing.
of your choice.
Oh, well,
Whose choice?
my choice. Yeah, my choice. Well, everyone's getting. Stay tuned for finding out what you're getting.
Well, you know what? Let's level the playing field.
Okay.
So if it makes us laugh, both of us laugh on that episode where you read it,
Okay.
whatever we're about to taste,
Ooh.
you get a sample of.
That's great.
Sound good?
I like that.
Yeah.
And
So,
whoever's whiskey it is doesn't matter. Yeah.
yeah.
There you go. I'll make sure to read
The
them all.
next 10 episodes are going to be all Matt's whiskey.
I got them. I like that.
But yeah, so submit your jokes at contact@stinkerdrinkerthinker.com for all that. That's the other thing I wanted to say, so thank you for reminding
You're
me.
very welcome.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's get into it. I think we learned when we did the interview with Elsie May that we're always going to do rye last when it comes to this stuff.
That makes sense.
It's funny. Me and Troy went to Louisville last weekend,
Oh, yeah.
and we went to 2 of these places.
Really?
Yeah, we went to Old
We
Forest.
did, didn't we?
We went to Old Forest. We went to Michter's. Honestly, the only reason I wanted to go to Louisville was to barrel my own barrel strength Michter's
Did
at
you?
the Fort Nelson. So we got there Friday night. We got there. And
We got into Louisville on Friday
Yep.
night. Yeah.
and we were with our friends Molly and Alden. Alden's been on here before. Molly's probably going to be on here soon. And if you see the cute girl in the gray shirt on our Instagram page is modeling our shirt, that's Molly. So we went down there, and we got dinner at this place called Muscle and Burger Bar, which was pretty darn good. They had a house-made vermouth that I got a will at Manhattan with, and it was out of
That's
control.
interesting.
It was very good. Troy, you kind of you thought it was more of like a port wine type of thing, or like a cordial kind of.
I think, well, yeah, you and I sort of both thought that, and I think, and this is something that, God, man, I can't believe that this didn't dawn on me sooner in my career, that sweet vermouth is made from fucking white grapes, and you see dry vermouth, and it's like, well, that's made from white grapes, and sweet vermouth is made from red grapes.
I told you that.
Yeah, and I felt like, man, how the fuck did I not know that?
I schooled the sommelier.
No,
guys.
it's
Wait a
true,
second.
man. It's really true. You really did. But I this one was undoubtedly made from red grapes.
Oh, sure.
You could feel it in the viscosity. And it did sort of have a really pleasant like mulled wine feel to it without being hot, of course.
Yeah.
A lot of sort of spice to it. Very aromatic and yeah, I mean fuck, delectable in a Manhattan.
I think me, you, and Alden all got Manhattans with different whiskey in it. Which was
dang.
kind of
We
cool.
did, yeah. I initially asked for Booker's. They didn't have
They
it.
were out. They were out of Booker.
Baller,
Dude,
Manhattan.
Troy loves Booker
I
Manhattan.
know that's a baller.
I actually
status.
asked for a Michter's barrel strength Manhattan.
We all had our dreams.
But she said it was $50 an ounce, and I was like, "Fuck that!" Like I
didn't
had
hear
like
that
2
part.
bottles of that here.
Walk
I should've
down the
just
street,
brought
get me
my
for
own.
one.
Yeah, seriously. But so like, literally, it was a block away from
Yeah,
Michter's.
that's what I'm
So
saying,
it was
yeah.
literally a block away
Yeah,
from Michter's.
yeah.
So we went, and we had a reservation at a speakeasy, which was really cool too.
How cool was it?
Not as cool as the last time I think Troy was
No,
there.
it was awesome.
But we had a great time. But anyways, we walked to Michter's and we were like, you know what, let's go get a nightcap in the bar. And or not a nightcap. It was a nightcap for them. They closed at 11.
Pre-nightcap.
Pre-nightcap. Me and Troy both got a glass of Bombergers and Shanks, which we'll probably get into when we get into Michter's a little bit. And then we all had some cocktails. Pretty good cocktails. It was awesome. The bartender, kind of tell was like a little bit like introverted at first, but once he kind of knew that we all knew what we were talking about, he kind of opened up.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And the bartenders were really cool. It was the end of their shift, and like they were working on a cocktail together, so they were like bouncing ideas off each other, and we were kind of talking with them about it, type of thing. But the guy downstairs in the gift shop said, and again, one of the only reasons I wanted to go there was to barrel my own.
Right.
And they're doing barrel strength bourbon right now, which is I found out a lot about. So first of all, they only release barrel strength bourbon. And we have a listener up in Canada who's a Michter's distributor. Please message me if I'm wrong about this, but this is what I heard at the Fort Nelson Distillery. And I appreciate your support, by the way. So he told me that is a somewhat of a limited regional bottle. So you can only either get it at the distillery if you barrel it yourself or if they put it out on the shelves, and they put a couple random bottles out throughout the day. Or it's only in Kentucky. They don't ship it outside of Kentucky. So it's either going to be in Louisville or Bardstown or Lexington. They don't ship it anywhere else.
Interesting.
So it is very hard to get, obviously. So I was talking to them downstairs. I was like, "You guys doing the bottle your own tomorrow?" And he's like, "Well, yeah." And found out that they only let 10 or 15 people do it a day.
Oh.
So, and
Like first in line kind of thing?
exactly. So they only let 10 or 15 people do it a day, and they don't do it all the time. But I was like, "All right, you guys are definitely doing it tomorrow." And he's like, "Yeah, just I was like, "Well, they open at 10." So I was like, if we're there at 9:30, do you think that's good? He goes, "Well, man, sometimes like you can show up at 10 and there's no one here. Sometimes you got to be here at 7:30 and there's a line around the street.
Yeah.
It really depends." So like we go out to the speakeasy and we're all, drinking, and it's like 1:30 in the morning, and we had a couple breakfast folks with us. People wanted to, and like honestly, we wanted to wake up and go have a good meal before we went hopping all day. And I'm like, "Guys, I really need to go to Michter's." Like, "God, we gotta go to bed, guys. Sorry." Like,
You were the party pooper.
I was the party pooper.
It was unbelievable.
Well, actually, I mean,
Wow.
Alden was fucking falling asleep at the table. Alden
Yeah,
wanted to go
yeah,
to sleep at 8:30. But anyway, sorry, Alden. So we probably went to bed around 2:30. Got up, got to Michter's at like 9:30, and there was
No, sooner than that.
like
Yeah.
9:15.
Yeah.
Got to Michter's at like 9:15, and there was like 6 people in front of us, and 2 of them were couples, where the wives weren't bottling.
Oh.
So I was like, and Alden wanted to barrel,
Yeah, sure.
bottle one of his own too. So Molly and Troy went and got breakfast, and I'm standing in line, and we're talking to these guys, and they're from all over the place. One guy says he's never even seen Michter's in a liquor store before, and he was so
Holy
excited.
crap.
Yeah, we just told him, get out.
Yeah, well, he said he can't find it. He lives in Ohio. There's no Michter's in his liquor
Not
store.
because he didn't know what it was.
Yeah, he knew what it was.
okay.
No, he literally drove all the way to Louisville to go to Michter's because
Jeez.
and then he's going to Heaven Hill, which is like an hour south.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that he just like that's what he wanted to do because he
the way
wanted to
to
get
do it.
Michter's.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if he was blind because another guy was there in line from Ohio as well, and he's like, "Well, I got fucking 5 toasted barrels and 4 barrel strengths, and this is my."
He's going to the wrong
Yeah.
stores. He's only going to Kroger.
So, and we're lucky we got there when we did it because about 5 minutes later, I turn around and the line is literally, there's a crosswalk going across the street and it's bent around and there's like 30, 40 people there. So I'm super excited. I'm going to get my bottle. So excited. Like literally one of the only Michter's like core line bottle, not core line, but like not 10, 20 or celebration
Right.
sour mash
Non-age
bottles.
stated,
That I don't have is that one. And I fucking love the toasted barrel bourbon. I love US1. I can't imagine what the barrel strength version, and I love barrel strength stuff. So the lady opens the gate, 10:02. She walks out. She goes, "Hey guys, thanks for standing in line. We're not barreling our own or bottling our own today. Sorry, come on in." And like, the wind was sucked out of me,
Yeah, dude, I can't even.
and I was like, oh. Well, I'm still gonna go spend $500, so let's go. So I walk in and they had Shanks on the shelf as like kind of like a consolation prize, which is kind of hard to find.
Yeah.
So I got that. And then I got some Fort Nelson Select, which is just US1 bourbon and rye, but they put the Stinker Drinker Thinker name on the bottle, which is kind of cool.
That's cool. It's a good. I'd keep that sealed. Kind
of. That's exactly. It's just going to be there.
Yeah.
And then we went down to Old Forester, and that was fun. And we were at that point. It was like 10:30. We weren't in Michter's long, like 10:30, and we get down there, and it's like 4 blocks up the street, 10-minute walk. We were going to stop at Jim Beam, but they were closed for Pride. There were the whole staff was the Pride.
No. It was Evan Williams.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Evan Williams was closed for the Pride Parade. The whole staff was marching in that. That was later that afternoon. So we get to Old Forester, and we're just trying to walk in, and there's this Irish guy. He had an Irish accent. At the door, he's like, I
think he was Scottish.
Scottish.
Yeah, sorry.
They're the same. Except one makes better whiskey, and they're nicer people.
Boy.
We'll get to that probably at some point today. Anyway, so he's like, you going to the gift shop or you doing a tour? I was like, well, we're just going to go to the gift shop and then go to the bar, do a tasting. He goes, all right, well, you got to get in line. We're doing a limited release this morning.
Are you kidding me?
And I was like, oh, okay. So we got in line. We get in, and it's a single barrel rye, which I was super excited about.
Oh, that's okay.
But I was sitting in line, and I was like, am I going to get a fucking birthday bourbon today?
Yeah.
Like how the fuck is this? What limited release? I mean, I'll take a single barrel rye for $100.
Sure.
We got there right in the nick of
time. Like literally, because then
Yeah.
that line built, and there was only like 30 bottles left when we got in there. So then we get in there,
Jeez.
me and Alden, and I had Troy grab a bottle for you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
And so they're like, all right, let's go sit at the bar and start drinking. It's 10:30. We're not drunk yet, so let's go to the bar.
Wait, what state are we in? How are we doing this? Yeah.
So as we're checking out, the cops are pulling this guy out of this place at 10:30, and apparently this guy who was wasted walked in there
at 10:30.
At 10:30 in the morning, wasted, and there was a rally at the Old Carter Distillery down the road this morning, or down the road earlier this morning for Pride, and then they were doing a limited release as well.
Oh, I know.
So that guy got smashed. Old Carter apparently called Old Forester and told them that this guy was coming.
Oh boy!
And they still didn't catch him.
He can run.
So he walked in and he grabbed this single barrel rye. He opened it and dumped it all over the fucking floor.
No way.
If you look at that price of that bottle on the secondary, it's like a $700 bottle.
What the fuck?
It was $100 at the distillery. You're never gonna find it. It's hard to find.
Yeah.
He just and then he stuffed it back, and then he went to go grab something else. And the cops are fucking dragging him. What the fuck's that guy gonna do the rest of the day? It's 10:30 in the morning, and you're fucking vandalizing Old Forester.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, they have on display. They have birthday bourbons and stuff. I'm surprised he didn't grab anything.
They do in the bar.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't make it. Yeah.
Which I was so excited because I did do a flight of birthday bourbon.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And it was great. We did 18, 19, and 2020, the releases, and it was 11-year, a 10-year, and a 12-year. And they were great. Honestly, I've always heard terrible things about birthday bourbons. I've never personally tried them. A lot of people say they're not worth the money. Honestly, you could tell it was an expensive whiskey. Troy,
worth MSRP at least.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, probably worth $250. I think I'd pay for that. I
enjoyed them.
Yeah, especially the first and the third one. The 2019 release was a little bit thinner, but it was aged. I think it was the smallest aged one.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But it was great. It was great.
You're making me very thirsty.
Any speculation as to why Michter's might not have been doing it on that particular day?
That's so funny. I messaged them today.
Did you?
And asked them. I shouted them out on a post yesterday, and whoever does their social media. Thank you very much for responding, by the way.
I mean, I'm sure it could be a number of reasons.
And they didn't really elaborate, but they said, hey, next time call before you drive all the way up and just make sure they're doing it that day.
Yeah.
Tell them what happened last time, and they'll be able to give you information on the phone. The shitty thing is and it's not shitty because I get that they can't please everybody, and
especially with
and I'm not mad at it. I got Chinks, and I had a great day, and it was awesome. But the guy in the gift shop the night before said to be here this early because we're doing barrel strength bourbon, which is kind of shitty. And then the guy and the bartender told us that they're doing it, and
they might have been doing it.
Thought that
until 9:30 a.m. when something happened. And
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, we can't do it today, or we're too short, or whatever. Anyway.
Could have been a million things.
Anyway, speaking of liquor, we had a great day. Tried some Pappy. That was fun.
Which we will tell that story.
Yeah, we'll maybe next episode. Stay tuned. For more.
The Pappy story. That's a funny one.
Yep.
All right, so let's get into it. So,
you want to start with the bourbon?
Yeah, we might as well start with the bourbon. Since we're talking about Old Forester.
All right. So, tasked with the, assuming we each get about $20 to $30 to play with, I was able to up my original choice a little bit. So I went for the Old Forester 100. So we're going to go for the 86, and we talked about it. But this is a little bit more proof, a little bit more oomph to it. So I figured this would be a nice little treat. But I think I've mentioned this a couple times now at this point, but Old Forester is the thing that got me into bourbon, into whiskey. And if we're talking, I have X amount of dollars, I want to give classic bourbon tasting. To me, this is what that is. So I figured this is what I'd bring in and share with you guys. Cause I mean, I think, and we were talking about this before, it's what they say it's the oldest or the first bottled bourbon.
Yep.
So, I mean, how do you get more classic than that? You know?
Yeah. I'm sure
all marketing, but whatever.
some element of that is true. Elijah Craig
yeah.
says they're the first people to char barrels and that they're the father of bourbon. You know, I think the Old Forester people and the Heaven Hill people we should do a celebrity death match.
Who actually reigns supreme?
Yeah. I've never had a pour of Old Forester I don't like, so
I
don't think I've ever had this one though.
I don't think I think they did 86, Statesman, 1920, and then something else.
Actually,
I don't think they did the 100 on our tasting.
I actually don't like Statesman.
It's okay.
I know
Really?
Troy, and I know Troy likes it.
I just had it one time and I liked it.
Yeah. They actually made it. It's kind of like a celebrity release. The reason why they made it was for that movie, The Statesman, that came out, and they released it as a limited run to like hype that movie up because that's what he was going to be drinking in the movie or something like that. And I guess it sold so well that they just never stopped making it.
It's a cool bottle. It looks cool too.
It does look cool.
But to 86, 86 was my first true love. So I don't honestly remember last time I had a 100 proof. So
let's dig into it. Pop it up,
Troy. You gonna get this nice pop?
Is that a twister?
Yeah, it's a twister. This is $21.99 here locally. So
bottom shelf drinkers, guys.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was plenty satisfying.
Yeah.
And when we say bottom shelf drinkers, we're not talking about Fireball or cookie dough or peanut butter.
This
bullshit.
is okay. This is meant to be if you're actually if you're getting into whiskey, you think you like whiskey, and you want to actually grow a collection. Where can you start? And where can you have people over that'll actually maybe a little bit a step above, that if they go to a bar, this is something they can actually afford. Most people can afford and hopefully will enjoy. So.
If the 100's $21.99, how much is the 86?
That's what's crazy. I went to the store today to buy this, and it was $21.99 for 100 proof and $23.99 for 86 proof.
Oh, that's crazy.
And I said, okay.
That's great.
Why not? So this is actually cheaper than 86
It's the
proof.
cork. It's the cork.
Is 86 cork? Or is it twist?
No, 86 is cork, I think.
Oh, I actually don't know.
That seems also strange.
Yeah. But anyway.
It smells so good.
Old Forester.
Old Forester just has a great... Every single one of them has just like this great classic... Oh.
Fresh crack bottle, too.
Yeah.
But it is like that nice, musty char.
Leather,
we get a little toffee.
Sweet pop.
Yeah. Just Google what bourbon smells like to me. This is pretty much it.
Seriously.
Yeah. It's just nice.
Fresh baked bread, like right away. I'm going to tell you what, for a $20-something bottle, that is some complex whiskey. Especially if you're trying, like, another point here, especially if you're trying to, like, drink stuff neat. Yeah, you can have this stuff for making drinks or people who want to just put it over ice or dump Coke onto it, but this is not a toy. This is not well whiskey. This is not a drain pour. This is literally a $23 bottle of what bourbon should taste like at any price point, in my opinion.
That's also interesting.
If they can do it at this price point, so can everybody else.
I agree. I just realized this is my first pour of neat whiskey in the last
since your surgery.
2.5 weeks.
Yeah, salute.
Yeah, salute. It is a little hotter. Honestly, it actually feels a little hot for 100. On the tongue, that's probably because I am 0% acclimated to whiskey anymore. I was telling, I went out to date night with my wife, and I got a cocktail, and I was at the end of that, I was like swimming a little bit. I was like, whoa, all right. So, yeah, this will be interesting.
I get the heat thing, and you might get that with lower cost whiskey in general, but there's so much flavor. The mid palate is huge. It's sweet. It's robust. Like I said, bread, spices, leather, oak. The finish is nice and sweet and tangy. And it's got a nice little sting on the tongue, a little pepper on the tongue. You really get that with like a $50 or $60 whiskey. A 10-year-old $50 or $60 bourbon is what I think of. If we blinded this, I think it would kick some ass.
I think the only the big constraint I think is it is thinner than I think a more expensive quote unquote whiskey would be, but other than that, I think it holds its own.
Yep.
It is, and I did look it up. It's 72% corn, 18% rye, and 10% malted barley. So it's
What's-
pretty darn
what's-
high.
You know what the age statement is?
No age statement.
No.
Yeah. And if I did, I mean,
It looks dark.
it'd break things.
It looks pretty
It
dark.
does look dark.
I would say 6 to 8 years.
8 years. You think so?
Look at that.
Never know.
It could be. 5-ish. I don't know. Old Forester, if you're out there, tell us. I'm sure someone has figured it out, but
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I don't know, Troy. What do you think?
Quintessential. You know, it's what I want. It's proved perfectly for me. You know, I would choose the 100 over the 86, but that's because that's what I prefer. I also love the 100 proof rye that they make too.
I don't think I've had that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, just dirt cheap. I mean, you know, it's like I do spend money on alcohol, but if I can get away with spending $25 on an extraordinary bottle of whiskey, Old Forester is probably the best thing that I'm going to go towards. So, yeah.
How many sips have you had?
2.
How many sips have you had?
2 or 3?
What kind of pour did you give me?
What do you mean?
Same
Well-
as each of us.
Yeah.
I only had 2
It's
as
the
well.
exact same. I take very small
Me
sips.
too.
though.
I have taken sips, not gulps.
They're trying to cut me off early.
Yeah, we got
we got a lot to do. But yeah, I mean,
here if you need more.
yeah, I think
Just got one
I'll have to go
this
back.
one for
I
later.
would actually like to try 86 versus this one, like head to head. It'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
I almost might think I like 86 more, just from memory. But I bet, and I started drinking this on the rocks or on a large rock. I bet I'd actually like the 100 more on a rock in general.
I bet this would make it an extremely good old fashioned.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
we had some old fashions while we were there too. I wonder what they were using. I honestly think they were using 86 for the old fashions
that
there.
makes sense.
But I bet that would make a pretty bold old fashioned, Troy. I don't know. What do you think?
God, I feel like I remember it listed it on the menu. I just can't.
I thought it was 86.
I don't know.
It'd make a bold fashion.
Well, the next series we do after
No.
we're going to do these, and then we're going to do elevated bottles. We'll talk about that soon.
But yeah, I mean, I got no complaints for for $22. I mean, that is.
Is that
That
just
is
a
it.
drinker? It's just a drink. We're just going to call it a drinker, right? It's a drinker.
I think it
we
is.
might as well dump the whole thing in the InfiniDrinker. Guys, on here we have this bottle. This is decanter, graciously gifted to us by our friend Zach from Engrave.com. It's called the excuse me. It's called the InfiniDrinker. This is why they're cutting me off. I can't talk. And if we get a drinker on here, honestly, I think we're gonna have 3 drinkers tonight. But if we get a drinker on here, we pour one out for the homies in there, and then eventually at some point we're gonna
Drink the drinker.
drink the whole decanter in one episode.
Oh boy, nope.
Anthony thinks Scotch is going to be a drinker.
Oh,
It's
boy.
monkey shoulder, dude.
It's blended malt,
All right.
baby.
It's probably made in America.
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on.
Yeah. Wanna do a quick little breaky boo?
Yeah, cracker break.
Wanna do-
You know what's kind of weird?
We don't have any crackers.
Yeah. Are we actually out?
No. I bought so many boxes.
Well, the open bag Benny came down here and ate the other day while I was at work.
Benny!
So the unopened bag?
Did you buy some?
I had brought 2 boxes.
Is there an
over
unopened bag?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cracker break. And welcome back for Cracker Break. It's Cracker Break. I can do it, Anthony. I can do it. It's brought to you by a pun. Hey, Troy. Did you know that Moses was a home brewer? Did you know this?
No.
Moses had the perfect formula of making beer in the old biblical times. It was amazing how he brewed it. Knee slapper. Troy laughed.
You're laughing at Matt or laughing at the pun?
Yes.
Already.
All right, biblical jokes.
Did the
not
doctor
jokes.
ever tell you that talking like a toddler really loud maybe put the cyst on your vocal
You
cords?
know, abuse to your vocal cords is what causes it. So
You used to sing, didn't you?
poorly, yes.
Sing us a song, Matt.
Oh no,
Please.
I can't. I'll die.
Sing us. Good, I get all your whiskey. Sing us a song.
Son of a bitch. We're moving on.
All right, Troy, what do we got?
Monkey shoulder.
What's that?
The original blended malt Scotch whiskey.
Whiskey?
Yep. I'll be honest. I I probably have never sat down and sipped on this whiskey before. You know, when I think of Scotch that is, you know, relatively budget friendly, but even still, you know, it's not cheap. Like I I never liked most blended Scotch. I didn't really like Johnny Walker. The first handful of times I had it, took me kind of a while to appreciate any of it. Now I understand it. But I started out with single malt. I think I might have even started out with some of the peated stuff like Lagavulin. That's some of my earliest memories of drinking Scotch. But my go-tos early on were some of the really accessible Highland stuff, specifically Glenlivet and Macallan. And Macallan's, I feel like, gone up in price quite a bit over the years.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, because I do prefer it quite a bit over Glenlivet. But even to this day, I still do really enjoy a good glass of just regular Glenlivet 12-year. So that was my initial gut reaction when you know we were talking about what we're going to be doing tonight. I was like, it's got to be that. But I mean, it's not that expensive. It's like, depending on where you are, 50, 60 at the most.
Yeah, probably something about that. Yeah.
Could be high 40s in some places.
We could have made it work, but
yeah. And then Matt and I were Matt accompanied me to have a quick snack earlier this afternoon at work, and our friend James, upon just, you know, innocently eavesdropping on our conversation, was what was his exact words? He was like,
"So if you're doing it about Scotch, you got to talk about monkey shoulder."
Yeah, and I'm like,
James doesn't even
drink.
Yeah, but he once upon a time clearly, you know, he knows his shit. So, and I'm like, fuck, monkey shoulder. I would have never thought of, just because I don't have the actual experience with it. But it's a blended Scotch, which I think is such a necessary precursor to getting into the world of single malt Scotch. So here we are. Yeah. We're in this together.
Yeah, I think before you go into single malt, before into single grain, I think.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's just the idea of it is more approachable.
Right, blending them together is a little bit cheaper typically, which is what you find a lot of cheaper, you know, Scotches and stuff.
Interesting thing about Scotch and the word single malt. Single malt doesn't mean that they only used one grain or one type of malted barley. It means that it was all distilled at one location.
Both. So single malt and single grain. Single malt means it's all one distillery and only malt, typically barley.
Correct.
And then single grain is every other grain, but still single distillery.
Correct.
Yeah.
And usually the blended ones are kind of scary to me anyway. Personally.
I get that because you don't know.
Well, I mean, because they blend a bunch of different ones together or whatever, but they usually finish it with some sort of peated something. Or smoke.
Or neutral spirit sometimes if you're doing real cheap.
Yeah. So we'll see. But I've had monkey shoulder a bunch. I've also never sipped it neat. If you've watched or listened to any of this, disclaimer, I fucking hate Scotch. I fucking hate it. I think it's terrible. There's a couple Scotch cocktails that I really like.
Scotch tails?
Yeah, Scotch tails. So, and I've definitely had monkey shoulder in them. But I'm excited to put it in the glass.
The three main single malt whiskeys that the monkey shoulder is blended from are Glenfiddich, which I love.
Glenfiddich.
Balvenie, which I really fucking love. And the last one I've never heard of. It's called Kininvi.
Let me see.
Kininvi.
Let me see.
Kininvi.
Kininvi?
Please hold.
Holding.
It's
holding.
Look all the way top, first line.
Oh.
Is that how you would say that?
Yeah.
Kininvi.
Balvenie Kininvi. I guess so.
Yeah. I don't know that one.
But another one.
All space side, which for you and for me too means pretty much hopefully no peat. So yeah. I'm gonna pop her.
There's three little monkeys on the shoulder of the bottle.
That there are.
It was real cute when I was buying that. I was like, I've seen it before, but I didn't really look hard at the bottle. And yeah, little cute little monkey boys or girls.
Very cute.
smells like a Nutella cinnamon bun.
I mean, that sounds delicious.
It smells salted caramel. Like
That's there too. You don't get the Nutella cinnamon bun?
get a little Nutella, cinnamon. I get a lot of salt.
That's good. That's accurate.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Yeah, for the terroir.
Terroir.
All right, I'm just
You're just going.
Yeah,
this
fuck it,
is
let's
these
get
are
it
the why smell it?
Why
Just
are you in a
drink
rush?
about it.
Why are you in a rush?
Because it smells delicious.
It's gonna be a rye.
I bet this is actually blended with. It's actually
All
Scotch
right,
rye
baby.
with made with malted rye barley and
What
extra rye.
What the fuck is rye barley?
I'm just saying everything's rye. It smells like a. It smells like a. Yeah, like an underdone pastry. Oh boy, I'm just looking at reaction in the face. Yeah, it smells good.
I think it smells very good.
Yeah. All right. Oh. Oh. Peanut butter. It's like not peanut butter, it's like cookie butter. You ever had the Trader Joe's cookie butter?
Oh, I've had it.
Yeah. But like definitely still underdone pastry.
No, it's the the shell of a peanut.
Don't fucking say that.
That's my favorite one. It is peanut buttery though, right?
Yeah,
Or nutty?
but like
Husky.
it's
Processed candy peanut butter.
no, the opposite. No,
Supernatural.
made in house, like no added sugar peanut.
It's super dry, like you just roasted it and then
Yeah.
ground it up.
Yeah.
and then-
I get those.
And it's like if you don't have a glass of milk with it, it's gonna completely dry your
I'm
mouth
not gonna
out.
lie, I like this way better than I thought I was gonna like it.
Yeah.
It tastes like
I think
those.
it's phenomenal.
Tastes like those Reese's that have pretzels in them.
Oh yeah, yeah, because it has like kind of like the bready crispiness, or like a Reese's Crunch or whatever those are called. Yeah, like a Rice Krispies, dry Rice Krispies.
I can get that. Yeah, I can get that. Yeah,
Or if you have what are those?
I'm getting a lot of salt, a lot of pretzel, a lot of chocolate, and a lot of peanut butter. Like,
yeah,
but the Rice Krispie, if
Drying
you don't put milk in it, Rice
Yeah,
Krispies,
yeah.
the texture, the mouthfeels of that, and like kind of when you breathe out, that's kind of.
I kind of dig this. I'm not gonna
I
lie.
think it's great.
I really was like, all right, whatever. I kind of dig it for $29.99.
Yeah, that's a
Is
really
what we're currently paying for. Wayne.
stupid price.
This is batch 27. If anyone's keeping a score at home,
For all the American single malt that we've tasted on this podcast, this is very definitive, representative of what it is. I think it really sets itself apart from a lot of the luxurious, like fruit forward, hot sort of like hot climate sort of American single malt whiskeys that we've had. And I think that's a good thing. I mean, it's not a good thing or a bad thing. I guess it's just a thing.
Yeah.
You can't really change it.
it's more. I mean, is the brighter side of that, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Like, you don't get the dark chocolate notes. You get more of the green apple. If you're going fruit, you get a little more green apple, honey,
Yeah.
caramel, that kind of thing. I can't tell if Anthony is crying or if he's elated or.
He hasn't said anything.
And he's
so-
just looking there like scowling, but
Yeah.
kind of happy.
I don't know what you're. This is
Speak.
fucking fantastic.
There it is.
This is the best scotch I've ever had.
There it is.
It's
There
fucking
she
great.
goes.
It is fucking great. People in Scotland, do what they do. Stop charging so much fucking money for shit that you fucking blow smoke over. Get the fuck out of here.
Here's the
with that.
interesting part: is we kind of equate like single. We think of like Scotch, like single malt, single barrel, that kind of stuff. I mean, this is essentially a blend. Like, I mean, I'm thinking like Bardstown, whatever. Like, this is a good blender who took all this stuff and made this product.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
pretty impressive.
yeah. It just feels like there's love put into the actual blending.
Which is funny because like you go to cocktail bars, a lot of time, if it's not like fucking Doers or something like that, they're fucking using this.
Yeah,
They're using this to make cocktails.
yeah. I just
Can I have that?
I just got puppy chow, like peanut butter puppy chow.
You eat
40
pu-
is
do
it
you-
43%?
Do you
Right?
eat puppy chow?
You know the food puppet show?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh!
Chex Mix.
Wasn't sure if you were eating.
No, like you make a Chex Mix and what is it, peanut butter and like powdered sugar.
Yeah.
I got a lot of that. This is really good. I'm not good choice, Troy/James.
Dude, I give James all of the credit.
Good job, James.
Literally
if you're out there.
every bit of it.
Thank you for being sober, James.
This is great.
All right, take that away from me. Put it over there. Oh, it's your bottle. Yeah, give that back to Matt.
This is gonna be a problem, isn't it? I liked it for
It's
$30.
our bottle.
Yeah, for $30. Yeah, all right. I'm not gonna say anymore. I'm not gonna say it again.
It's a drinker.
It's great. Yep, absolute drinker.
It's going to be the first Scotch that goes in the InfiniDrinker.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I do agree.
Man.
It is a drinker.
It's a cereal and oh man. Anyway,
All right, let's
I'll
take
get
a
off
fucking
it.
cracker break before I drink all of it.
Yep. This is called a Anthony eats a cracker, so he stops drinking cracker break. And welcome back from Cracker Break. This Cracker Break's brought to you by another pun because Troy likes him so much. Hey, Anthony, I'm going to talk to you about the zoo that I went to recently. You want to hear about it? You don't. Okay. I went to the zoo the other day, Anthony. The only animal in the entire zoo was a dog. It's a Shih Tzu.
See, if you guys submitted that joke, you would have got free fucking Michters.
That was way better than mine.
Yeah,
I got to give you each one.
yeah, that was good. Round of applause. Golf clap for Matt. That was good. A Shih Tzu. I like that. All right, so I was tasked with bringing a rye, and this is a little bit more expensive than these other two bottles. It's about a $40 bottle. But if you're building a bar, whiskey collection for under $100 and you want three staples, I really struggled with this because there was an episode we did about a month or so back where we showcased Michters. We did a distillery night where we did the US1 bourbon, the single barrel US1 rye, and then the 10-year versions of each of them. But I wouldn't be being honest with myself if we didn't do this bottle again on here, because this is first of all, US1 bourbon and US1 single barrel rye are like my go-to drinkers. And I have a lot of fucking whiskey at all price points, at all ages, at all rarities. This deserves to be here again. And I was a little conflicted because we already did that. But I just wasn't being honest to myself. And for what you're getting here, I just a little backstory on Michters. Michter started back in the Revolutionary War or the Civil War or something like that, whenever George Washington was killing people. And they were based in and they were based
Just an assassin.
Yeah. And they were based in Pennsylvania. They started under the name Baumburgers, which actually in 2014 Michter's rebranded and started re-releasing. They were bought out and changed it to the name Shanks, which we talked about earlier. That's another one that we got. And then Prohibition and all that stuff happened, just like everybody else. A lot of those companies, lost everything and went away for a while. So, back in the early 2000s, a guy wanted to, rebirth from the dead one of America's most heritage, traditionalized whiskeys, and he bought the name for Shanks essentially for $35. He bought it and he copyrighted it. And he has a son named Michael and another son named Peter, so he named it Michters, which is kind of cool. So thank you, Michael and Peter.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But he wanted to do this, and I have a lot of respect for this guy because, again, this is a $40 bottle, but literally zero expense is like they don't waste any money, and they will pay for everything. They do it 100% right. They don't give a fuck about money when they're making this. They're not thinking, how can we make the best whiskey cheap? They don't do it. And just for example, when distilleries make barrels for their whiskey, they essentially those staves that they do, they season them. The staves that actually make the barrels, they season them. And the average seasoning process for staves is 3 to 6 months. Weller, for example, Weller is a 6-month, and that's on the high end. They season those, and essentially what they do is, like, when they chop the wood and stuff like that, they let it out in essentially they leave it out in a field to bake and to get rained on and to just literally abstract all the purities, or like the impurities from it and the bacteria from it and all that stuff. It's all part of the curing process of it, or the seasoning process of it. All Michters, US1, on the shelf, $40 bottles are 18-month seasoned staves that they use for those barrels. So obviously that costs more money and more time. And Michter's has grown into one of the biggest legacy brands on where you can rank it as and legacy, what that means in the Kentucky ranking system is how many barrels they have aging in a rick house at one time. They're up there with Heaven Hill and Wild Turkey and, people like that. For example, and then like Baumburgers, for example, if you can find a bottle of Baumburgers, me and Troy tried it the other day. It is fucking fantastic whiskey.
Amazing.
Those staves are aged for 3 years. So I mean, besides that, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that they do, and they use chinkapin oak for Baumburgers too, which is like the unicorn oak.
And that's interesting because I think if I'm recalling this correctly, is they will actually, rather than, I think we talked about before a long time ago, they actually have like whiskey earmarked for specific things. They don't just like 10-year is not just it's not just US 1 aged 10 years. They actually they have a specific room, they have a specific like process for 10 years.
And that's why, and because they feel like if they're going to charge $250 for MSRP for a 10-year whiskey, that they're not going to overcharge you. There's a reason why that bottle's going to cost that much money, and they're going to do everything to make sure of it. Which, again, I have a lot of respect for that company because
absolutely.
of that. I can't tell you if a bottle of 20-year Celebration Sour Mash is worth fucking 10 grand.
I've heard literally only the best things, but 10 grand, I mean, no.
I could have got an ounce for $1,000 the other day, and I was almost feeling frisky enough. Troy had to pull me out of Justin's house of bourbon.
No.
I almost, well, actually, Alden came and got me because I literally was about to have her pull out a Willet Purple Label for $1,200.
They were...
I found a Michter's.
They were selling Purple Label for $250 at the store. I didn't know, like someone just posted. But
It was a special.
Oh, okay.
It was,
well,
it was
no,
in
I'm
the
saying it
museum.
was like
It was in the museum.
Oh, that was like a vintage one.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I found a Michter's Sour Mash 101 proof there that was made in Pennsylvania, which was kind of cool.
That's cool.
That I love Michter's. That might be something I collect one day. But
why would it have been made in Pennsylvania?
Because when they originally started, they started in Pennsylvania, and then they moved it.
So that had
shortly
to be like a certain year.
When they rebranded, changed the name to
Michter's,
Michter's, they were still making it in Pennsylvania at first because he bought the name for it and trademark. But they eventually moved to Kentucky for resources, limestone water, all that stuff. So, anyway, but this is like one of my all-time drinkers. If I go to a friend's house, and I've done this more times than I can count in the last 2 months. When cousin Sean was here, first night he got here, we popped a bottle of Michter's. It was a third of the way, or 2/3 of the way gone. I went home to visit some friends in New Jersey a few weeks ago, like Troy and I talked about, for a wedding. My best friend, Mark, I got to meet his daughter for the first time because of the pandemic. She's 2. She's beautiful. And to celebrate, I brought a bottle of Michter's US 1 bourbon, a $40 bottle, and we drank all of it in one night. And by the way, no hangover when you drink whiskey all night. Literally no fucking hangover.
Well,
I think that varies from person to person. But
I mean, Mark,
we're looking for sponsors out there.
Mark woke up. Mark always gets hangovers, and he's like, "Dude, I don't even fucking feel hungover today." I was like, "We drank a whole bottle of bourbon." I was like, "Eh."
So we should get a sponsorship with the
That's what happens
Z-Biotic or whatever
when
it's
you
called.
spare no expense. Oh, I'll let Troy pop this. Sorry. The only complaint I have about Michter's is sometimes the caps are a little flimsy on my Sour Mash
Caps
bottles. They
are real hit or miss, unfortunately. Ooh, wow.
it's creaky.
Yeah.
Yeah, like mine, I think for the barrels rye I have is very loose, which is weird.
Both of my Sour Mashes are. I have 2.
That's all right. It's about what's in the bottle.
Thank you, sir.
Smells like a rye.
Also, the thing I like about this one, generally speaking, when you get a cheaper rye, it's very spearmint forward. You get a lot of the grain.
Yeah, a lot of it's young MGP.
This is just so balanced. Too.
It's typically a little bit sweeter than most ryes that I get. A little oakier.
Got that classic like Michter's barrel char.
Would you know their mash bill? Is it like barely legal rye, if I recall?
You'll have to look that one up for me. You are the mash king. It was Revolutionary War, not Civil War. Sorry.
You mean where George Washington was assassinating people?
Just going around murdering everybody.
In his second life.
It was the whiskey that warmed the war. That's what it was known for Bomb burgers. Well, probably Shanks at that time, but
Yeah.
It's not a.
by the time Matt has the mash bill, it's gonna be gone.
Yeah, I would say, is it single barrel or
Such
is
a
it?
It's single barrel, yeah.
dude. When it's rye like this, I'm such a rye junkie. I really am.
I don't know if they list it.
It's so good. Sweet caramel, oak, vanilla.
The reason they don't, the reason I could struggle to find this because they actually don't list it. The guess is 55 to 60% rye, 35 to 40% corn, and 5% barley. So, like I said,
You're right.
Barely legal rye because it has a lot more oak, a lot more sweetness, a lot more bourbon notes that I think of.
It just has to be 51%.
Right. That's what I mean by barely legal.
Yep.
Is it's just above the legal description of rye, or in bourbon it's corn, but 51% makes it a rye, or 51 corn makes it a bourbon or whiskey or whatever.
1% more than half is all it takes.
Yep.
But it's such a beautiful whiskey, man. Smells great on the nose, and the mouth is sweet. The palate's sweet, caramel right away, and then you breathe out, and it's vanilla and oak, and just love butter, dude.
This is the kind of rye I like.
Yep. It's absolutely fucking delicious.
It really is just very good.
Yeah.
It is the definition of drinkable and crushable.
It is crushable.
Yep.
You guys haven't noticed yet, I am a bit of a Michter's fanboy.
But for a reason.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
I think I've talked about this before. I think they like the rye better than the US 1 bourbon.
I'm back and forth,
Yeah.
but I would not complain about either one of them. Michter's does a lot of limited releases, too. They do toasted barrel versions of these, which are very hard to find. They do a toasted barrel strength rye, and they do a regular barrel strength rye that's a seasonal release, and they're always fucking incredible, anyone that I've tried. If you get your hands on a toasted barrel bourbon, dude, that is some of the best whiskey I've ever had. And then obviously the 10 years we did on here, those are great. 20 years I haven't had. You going back already?
I'm going back and forth now.
Just kidding.
Go back to the Old Forester.
It's probably great.
Because you get a little bit more of that sweetness out of the Michters if it's still on your palate. And then go back in the Old Forester. It adds that spice you kind of miss out.
Old Forester just has a great smell to it, man.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yep. That's a good combination right there, in my opinion.
Oh, man. That is just delicious whiskey.
It makes it even better. Having the Michters right before it actually makes it even better. Funny enough. Dang. Well,
I admire your collections, and I'm super grateful for all that I've been able to try because of you guys. But the fact that the sum of these bottles amount to less than $100 is why.
Hey, I've said it once, and I'll say it again. What you're looking for is right on the shelves.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's right on the shelves.
I can't tell you how many hundreds of dollars I've spent on things that are not this good.
Yeah. Yes.
Like single bottles that are not this good
Yep.
as all these three combined.
Yep.
It is a little ridiculous to think about.
The monkey shoulder is fucking incredible.
It's about modesty. Like,
Yeah.
why have the there's the word.
Tenacity?
No, that's what I was going to say. Audacity.
Oh, okay.
It's like they sound similar.
It's true.
To feel like whatever it is you're doing, that obviously it's all subjective, and that's always going to be the case. But to feel like your product is just that much better than some of the staples and the most revered stuff that is modestly priced, and it doesn't actually prove to be better in any way by majority of reviews or tasters or what have you. I don't know, man. It's just fucking
it's weird.
I think putting these bottles in a blind would be very interesting too.
Yeah.
I agree. We should start sifting stuff like this into blinds.
Yep.
Especially when we do higher end stuff. Speaking of that, like when we were at Rabbit Hole the other day, the new Founders Collection's out. It's fucking $900.
It is MSRP of $895.
And I made the mistake.
That's crazy.
I'm at the counter with her, and I was asking her because they have a Derringer bottle that was finished in Starlino Vermouth casks.
Oh, dang.
And it's a
Is it the
distillery
red and
only
purple one?
Yep, it's a distillery only.
Yeah.
And I messaged them a few months ago, and they're like, distillery only, got to come and get it. So like, they didn't have it, but she did tell me they're going to have it again and come back soon because it
cool.
was so popular that they're thinking about making it a core model,
Yeah,
which is kind of
that's super
sick.
interesting.
Yeah. I was like, do you guys have anything else cool? And she's like, well, got the new Founders Collection. I was like, oh yeah, for only $849. She's like, well, no, $895.
Yeah.
It's like, you could have given me a fucking deal on
Yeah,
it. Like, she's like, well, I gave you a free tasting.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
you know,
great.
I was watching a review on it, a couple days ago, and it's like, yeah, this is great. Like, this is very good.
they're not, they wouldn't even
16-year-old bourbon.
They wouldn't even let you taste it though.
Oh, well, I mean, I was watching Fred Minnick, who got a free sample.
Of course.
A whole bottle. Anyway, but yeah, whatever.
Whole case.
Yeah, whole case. No, but
Hey,
he's like,
Fred, we sent you a $900 bottle of bourbon. Say it's good, asshole.
well, no, it's like one of the mini version of it, but a $3.75, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But it was interesting. I mean, he's, say what you will, he's fairly honest, I think, overall. But yeah, it essentially was just like, this is a very good 16-year-old whiskey. And then every time there's like, and I think he was streaming with his wife, and every time she'd be like, how much is that? He's like, well, MSRP is like $900. She's like, okay. It's like, not that good, sorry. Yeah, so I don't know how you justify $900. They make some stuff there. I'm assuming it's sourced 16-year-old whiskey, which is why it's so freaking expensive. That's my guess.
Yeah.
Or its age. I don't know the story. I have no idea. It's a Nevelier.
I didn't ask. I was mad. But I went up there. I took a picture of it. The box is probably $40,000.
You know what you could have gotten? 9 of these each.
Honestly,
this is the whole story.
Honestly,
That's the reason why we're doing this.
I think honestly, Rabbit Hole, the whiskey in general is absolutely incredible.
Derringer is really good.
Dude, the
High Gold or whatever it's called.
that one's
What's the one that we had, the black label?
Boxer Grail.
No, Boxer Grail's the rye.
Oh, Cave Hill.
Cave Hill.
Hill.
Or
It
Cave
was
Hill, whatever
yeah,
it's
it was
called.
Cave Hill.
Four grain.
It was fucking
great.
fantastic.
Yeah.
It was so good
That
for
was
a
the first
$50
time I'd ever
bottle.
had it.
It's very
Me
good.
too. I've had everything else on the line. We were actually taking shots of the rye at the speakeasy the night before. Bartender just left it on the table with a pour spout. Gave it to us for free, literally.
That is true.
Next episode, there's gonna be a lot more ramblings about our trip.
Let's finish this up. So, obviously, all drinkers, they're all going in. Let's rank them for our favorites in order, just for the heck of it.
Man, I actually don't know. I might. As far as drinkability, or are we just going to favorites? Because drinkability to me, Michter's is the most drinkable here.
Yep.
It's not the most interesting, but it absolutely is the most drinkable.
Yeah, let's talk about drinkability. That's what you're buying these bottles for at this price point, I think.
Most man, because I'm gonna I was most surprised by the Monkey Shoulder too.
Me too.
Anyone else have the ranking yet? I'm
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Michter's is the biggest drinker. And I will say that maybe I'm a little biased. Old Forester is Old Forester every single fucking time. It's consistent. It's what bourbon should taste like. I'm going to say that's number 2, and that's a crusher. You can literally fucking crush that stuff. And the Monkey Shoulder was a close third. It could have easily snuck into second place, but my Scotch palate is not necessarily great. I love single malt stuff. I love barley, and that didn't have any smoke or shit on it. So it was very highly impressed with that Scotch, and I think I'll probably drink it a lot. And if it was there and we were pouring it all night, like, again, that's what these whiskeys are for. These are, what can I buy for fucking $30 that tastes delicious and it's crushable and have in the bar and people will respect? All these things would be good to pours. So,
Troy?
I'm going Michter's, Monkey Shoulder, and Old Forester.
You stole it right from under me.
Yeah,
Michter's,
and it was I could go as much as I really I like the Old Forester a lot. I think just next to these other two,
It's hard.
yeah.
I would do, mine would be like Michter's and then Old Forester on the rocks and then Monkey Shoulder, but as is, Michter's, Monkey Shoulder, Old Forester.
Yeah.
cool. Well, next week, we're once again probably going to prove that Matt secretly does love rye, just like we did just now, for someone who says they hate it. But next week, we're going to do something a little bit different. If you have a bottle, got a nice paycheck, something that's on the shelves that maybe you wouldn't normally spend, in between that, $60 to $100 price point. We're going to do some of those on here. Same type of thing, rye, single malt Scotch, bourbon type of thing.
Or say you have all these three, now what?
Yeah.
Right?
You want to take the next step to elevate your collection, or you're going to get a nice gift that you're going to drink with somebody, or you just want to splurge on yourself and have something good. The real question will be, how will they compare against these? at that price
no
point.
question.
But everything, those all three will probably be drinkers as well.
Oh yeah, we're gonna put it. Should we put them in?
Yeah, we got to put them in.
Live?
We got to put them in the InfiniDrinker. Troy, don't feel bad about pouring these in there.
I don't.
We've poured more expensive whiskeys in there than 3 of these together
Actually,
4
there's
times
one
over.
The Heaven Hill 17's in there, so I mean, fucking knock yourself out, man. Whatever the fuck you want to do, I don't care anymore.
Write them down.
Yes.
The first Scotch in the InfiniDrinker, everybody.
That's interesting. Yeah.
There you go.
So, yeah, not the first single malt, but
First one made by Scottish people. I was really hoping to try to get the 117 series. Well, I was.
Yep.
You know what, Troy? There's not really a lot left here. Why don't you just dump this whole thing in there?
no. Yeah, the 117, or if you had gotten the what I really want is a 1910 extra old.
Oh,
That is if that is the one that I want more than almost anything.
it seems like if you get to those distilleries early on Saturdays, they're putting bottles out.
Can we just go every weekend? Can we just move down there? All right. InfiniDrinker has been
Engaged.
engaged. I was going to sequester. That's not the right word. Has been added to. There you go.
Awesome. Well, thanks again. Reminder, submit your jokes. Buy from our shop and get free whiskey.
Submit cocktail doctors.
Submit cocktail doctors, please. We got a couple of those on deck anyway, but put those in at our website, stinkerdrinkerthinker.com, and follow us along on Instagram. If you're just hanging out and if you just checked us out, hit that subscribe button, that little thumbs up. If you're just listening, 5-star reviews, and share them with your friends like you do with all your whiskey. We greatly appreciate it. Salute to all of you guys. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. Cheers. Oh, triple double.
Troy, lead us out.
Yo, lady.